Hi there. My name's Sarah, and I'm British, and I'm currently living in Norwich in Norfolk. I suffer from chronic pain, and following a couple of kind of low days, I've just kind of found that I didn't have access to the resources I wanted, kind of the support networks, and information generally um, about young people dealing with chronic pain. Um, I've been watching some videos on YouTube, mainly Americans. Nothing against the Americans, but yeah, different treatment options, that kind of thing across the pond. So I was just wanting to offer a bit of support and information to people in the UK and US, wherever, if you're young and dealing with chronic pain. A bit of background. I had some knee problems when I was about 13. While I was kind of dealing with those, I just noticed increasing pain in my back that I just assumed was because I was walking badly from having a knee problem. Had that sorted out at 15, had a lateral release, keyhole surgery, and my back just didn't get better. Had an MRI about a year after that, and they found a spondylolisthesis, which is where you have the bone moving away from the spinal column, as opposed to the disc doing anything. It was the actual bone that was moving. So they monitored that for a while. I had more physical therapy, painkillers, muscle relaxants to see if it would go away. And over 14 months, it progressed from a grade 1 to a grade 2, which meant it went from 25% displaced to 50% displaced. I was doing my A-levels, the end of my GCSEs, and then on to A-levels. My life was just horrendous, to be honest. I didn't really have any quality of life. I didn't go out with my friends. Every evening I'd come home from school and lie on the sofa. My work was suffering, even though I've always loved school. So yeah, that was a kind of hard time, but you deal with it, don't you? So I had a spinal fusion 3 days after I finished my A-levels, and 3 months later I came to university, because I was stubborn and I wouldn't take a year out. Everything went fine. The surgery seemed to work. I had 10 months, after the healing process, it took about 4 months. I then had 10 months where I just used paracetamol and diclofenac, a bit of ibuprofen if I wasn't using diclofenac, which to me is a pain-free period. I know, paracetamol and ibuprofen is enough for people with broken bones, but when you've got chronic pain, things, the basic lighter meds, to me, are nothing. So just being able to manage my pain on that was amazing. And then just went downhill again at the end of the beginning of the summer 2008. Then I just went back into one of my ruts of continual pain radiating from my back down my legs. Kind of like felt like my pelvis was on fire, neuropathic pain. Went back to my surgeon, and he kind of waved me off. There's nothing more surgically they can do. So what do you want me to do? I'm your surgeon. So I didn't get great response. Have an amazing GP at my university. Absolutely phenomenal. Chris Price. Absolute star. And he's just looked after me for the last 2 whole years. Pain meds, referrals to pain clinics, injections. He's just been completely chilled out. When I want to use my crutches, I can. He doesn't tell me I can't, or I can do whatever I like with him. Really, he's amazing. And he's always willing to try new things. I'm a pharmacy student myself, so if I read a paper, he's always willing to kind of give things a go. So I had a good period that lasted about 6 months, where I was just completely managed on my steroid injection that I had, buprenorphine patches, um, paracetamol, ibuprofen, on top of the buprenorphine, which, if you're not a pharmacy student, is a Schedule 3 controlled drug. It's specific on the kappa pain receptors, which means you're supposed to have less sedation and no addiction. But it's still an opioid, so it does still give you a bit of constipation and all that normal stuff. But it's great. Again, I've had to step up. I started on 5 to 10 micrograms an hour patches that last 7 days. And I've had to step up to 15, 20. Now I'm on a patch the size of a coaster that I have to find places to put on my body, which is ridiculous. I get contact dermatitis reactions from it. It itches, but it's better than being without it. At the moment I'm using 25, so I've got one about that big that's on my thigh and a smaller one that I can put on my upper torso because I don't react so badly to the small ones. Yeah, and just after a couple of days of looking on YouTube, just wanting a bit of emotional support, or at least just to hear that someone else is going through the same thing, I couldn't find anything. Jackie in America had some old videos, um, and Life is Alina in America. Her videos have been a great support to me because I'm now kind of looking into spinal stimulation therapy, where you have kind of an internal TENS machine fitted, with a generator that can last a lifetime. And I want to be a pharmacist. I want to work. Not particularly bothered about the kids stuff, but I want a normal life. I don't want to have to take antidepressants at night to help me sleep and to dampen down my nerves. I don't want to be on epilepsy medicine anymore to kind of stop the nervous transition of pain. If I could have it my way, I would probably get out of bed, walk a bit, get back into bed, um, all the time, and then sleep because my meds make me tired. But I'm disciplined and I have a lot of willpower. I've managed to get down to under 10 stone after having put on. I was up to about 13 stone when I had my surgery 3 years ago, because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even walk to the bus stop at the end of my road. And obviously I've been exercising, pain allowing, so I've lost 3.5 stone again. I am determined, but sometimes I just need a little bit of help with the old head. So reply if you feel a little bit less on your own because you've watched my video, or if you have anything else you want to say to me, that's fine. But people on the BBC Ouch message boards will know that hearing a story about your neighbour's daughter's son's school friend's hamster who had the same condition as you and was fine after a couple of months, it doesn't always work that way with nerve damage and chronic pain. And it's real, and I do need my meds. And my granny has this theory that I'm doing more damage to myself by taking meds and I should just put up with the pain. But the reality is the level of pain I'm in anyway on with the meds, I think I would need to find a way out, to be perfectly honest, if I had to go back to how I was 3 years ago when I was on fentanyl, for goodness sake. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit. So get back to me if you like. I've been leaving a couple of messages on a few other videos that I've seen with endometriosis, fibro, the stuff in common on the chronic pain front. But yeah, could really do with some new friends, I think, to understand a bit better. Thank you. See you soon.